Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem, Na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to the Lighthouse Project as we continue our weekly learning of, this particular week is going to be something new. We're starting a new series called Spiritual Preparation for Purim. Where it's going to take us, I don't know. We did a very, very good series last year. About 4 really, really powerful classes about the holiday. Let's see where it takes us this year. Before we get started, I'd like to give an honorable mention to our sponsors. We have tonight's learning is dedicated to the memory of Devorah Fegel Bat Shmuel, Zichrona Levracha, and blessed memory, and for the Refuah Shelema of Tehila Malka Bat Chaya and Menachem Mendel Bat Sar Batya. This particular class also has its own sponsors, Baruch Hashem. We have the Issachar and Zvulun sponsorship. We have H&M Builders doing this in memory of their grandfather, in honor of the Dornbush family. Be'ezrat Hashem, the Dornbush family have continued success in all they do, in their business life, in their personal life. Bracha v'atzlacha, refuah shlema, and b'surot tovot. What a surprise. We also have an additional sponsor tonight, Henshi Gordetsky.
We did do anonymous.
And thanks to Sharone for inspiring us all. Henshi, are you serious?
Yeah.
This is so sweet. And thanks to Sharone for inspiring us all and spreading the light of Torah with passion and compassion. Wow. You're good. You're gonna get something. May he be blessed with continued health, nachat, and success. I'm gonna tear up. And in your zchut, we should merit the Geulah and the Refuah Shema all Cholei Am Yisrael. Very, very special. Very special. I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Let's begin. Spiritual preparation for Purim. Anyone that has partaken in these series that we do over here of spiritual preparation will know that we're always on the lookout for something. We're on the lookout for 2 things throughout the entire year, which is 2 ways in which the Jewish calendar and the nature of Jewish time can be understood. Special days and special months. We're always looking for unique days to get plugged into or unique months with special energies. We explained it in order to, it's a concept that we have to repeat just for those that have not heard these classes before. You have to imagine time as not being a timeline where it's just behind us, like year 1, year 10, year 100, year 1000, year 2000, where time just passes us by. The Jewish concept of time is that it's one cyclical year, a spiral that constantly loops itself around. And every time that a certain date comes around, there's a certain energy that we can tap into. The best example that I like to give is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the day that Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai for the 3rd time. He was forgiven. The nation of Israel was forgiven for all their sins. And it happened on the 10th of Tishrei. So since it was a day that Hashem has forgiven Am Yisrael, every 10th of Tishrei, what do? We check ourselves into a shul and we pray and ask for forgiveness. Because that's the spiritual energy that's available on that day. So, as we loop around the year and we look for these auspicious days that we can plug into these special spiritual energies, the source for that, the source for what I just explained, actually comes from Megillat Esther. There's a pasuk in the Megillah that says, "V'hayamim ha'ele nizkarim v'na'asim bechol dor v'dor." That these days are remembered and are done again. They're repeated in every generation. In other words, whatever happened to the Jews during that time, at the same time, the next year, it will repeat itself. That energy will be available. In other words, they opened up some sort of spiritual portal for us to be successful in some spiritual manner, and when it loops back around again, tap into it, and you can get that same energy of that holiday, of that month, of that of any spiritual prime time throughout the Jewish year. Now, the special days that we constantly try to get plugged into are Shabbat on a weekly basis. It recharges us. We have Rosh Chodesh on a monthly basis. We plug in, every month has a special type of energy. Sometimes it's strict judgment, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's miracles, sometimes it's health. We have other holidays like Tu B'Shvat, Lag BaOmer. We have the holidays, Sukkot, Shavuot, Pesach. Each one of those days or holidays are special times that we can get plugged into, and they have their own auspicious spiritual energy. There's also special months that you can get plugged into. Like, for example, Nisan is the month of liberation, the month of freedom, the month of miracles. Nisan, from the word Nisim, miracles. Sivan is the month of wisdom. Shvat is the month of growth and fruitfulness, just like we had Tu B'Shvat. That's month for that. We have Iyar, which is the month for health. Iyar stands for Ani Hashem Rofecha. We have Elul, which is the month of compassion, of Slichot, Virachamim, and so on and so on. Every month and its unique spiritual energy. And essentially, on months that have a unique energy, every single day of that month has that power. Now, we just finished a cycle of some very harsh months. After Tishrei, we had Cheshvan, we had Kislev, we have Tevet, and we have Shvat. Kislev, okay, at the end we had Chanukah. But the beginning month, rabbis tell us, are Dinim. Tu B'Shvat, last month, Shvat, up until the 15th of the month, was still a very strict judgment. Tevet was also. These were not months that we wanted to do anything. You see, they were kind of months that not too many holidays, not too many things that we can get plugged into. It's a month where you lay low. And we learned about, during the Yud Bet Tevet, we learned a lot about Tevet and how harsh that month was, that it was even connected to Av and Tammuz. Imagine. However, about 2 weeks ago, exactly on Tu B'Shvat, exactly on the 15th of Shvat, something happened. On the 15th of Shvat, Tu B'Shvat, is exactly when that dark period ends and the new period begins. This is not just in Judaism. I think we explained it in our last lesson. Even the concept of, in Chinese culture, the concept of yin and yang, dark and light, male and female, it goes straight from dark to white. That line right in between, that's Tu B'Shvat. Wow. That's that line right there where the energy in the world switches to what? Growth, blossoming, positivity, not negative. You start going into months that are Adar, happiness, Nisan, miracles. You start having months that are filled with chesed, with mercy, with kindness, with success, with joy. And the beginning of that was exactly on Tu B'Shvat. So here we are, several days away from another spiritual prime time, the month of Adar.
We got two this month.
What?
We got two.
We got two. And on this, when Adar nears, we know that also Nisan is right behind it. Adar, by the way, is the month that prepares you for Nisan. We always said that the reason why we do these classes is we know that each month has a power. But you can come to me and say, I've been coming to these classes for 2 years and I'm not getting anything. Well, you have to do your work. If you prepare in Tevet, when you prepare in Shvat, you can merit to what Adar offers you. If you do your work in Adar, you can merit to the miracles in Nisan. So everything that we're talking about over here is all a preparation. So like that, when that spiritual energy is here, you did your work a few months before that to clear up whatever is holding you back from benefiting from this spiritual energy that's available. Now, this year we have a special treat. Adar, typically we have 12 months in a year. This particular year we have 13 months in the year. And this 13th month is added to the positive cycle of months. We got an extra positive month in the year. The month of Adar is typically known for being a joyful month. Everybody knows the famous saying, Mishenichnas Adar, Marbim Besimcha. When Adar enters, our happiness is increased, our joy is increased. That's the energy of that month. Joy, happiness. We got 2 of those. We got 60 days to plug into the energy of Adar. It's Adar Aleph and Adar Bet. Now, the Talmud tells us that when the month of Adar arrives, we increase in joy. And in order to welcome in the season of miracles, which is Nisan. In other words, you have to prepare for your miracle. How? Through the joy of Adar. We'll explain that a little bit more in detail as the class goes on. The Talmud also tells us that this month is very advantageous to the Jewish people. It is known for good luck. This is the good luck month for the Jews. Masechet Ta'anit, in the 29th page on the first side, says, Adar Debari Mazaleh. It's a healthy month. It's a healthy in luck. What does that mean? The Bari Mazaleh has a lot of good luck on this month for the Jewish people. The Gemara continues to say, it says over there, similarly, the way that when Av enters, we begin to diminish in our happiness, Similarly, when Adar enters, we increase our happiness. Amar Papa, he says, if that's the case, if any Jew has any court cases, or he needs to go and have anything to do, any sort of interactions with a goy, that typically they're out to get another Jew, he says, go into it in Adar. You have a better chance of winning that court case. You have a better chance of getting a better deal executed on the month of Adar. That it's an auspicious month to go to court and to start new projects, to start new businesses, to start new ventures. So if you're going to start a new job, if you're going to start a new partnership, if you're going to start anything that has to do, that you need luck and success, this would be the month to it. And not only that, you got 60 days. Some people just start things on Adar. I was thinking about it. Even if you don't have the funds for it. Even if you don't know if you're going to really go through with it. But start it in Adar. Why? So later on, if things pan out, it started on a healthy month. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, this is it says that Rabbi Yochanan, this is in Tehillim. Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yishmael Rotzeh Shitkaimu Nechasav. He says like this: Harotzeh Shitkaimu Nechasav Eita Bahen Adar Sheneemar Adir B'Marom Hashem. It says anyone who wants his finances to succeed, he should plant a seed when? In Adar. Let's just say you had a great idea. Well, buy that domain. Things will work out. Let's say you want to have some sort of partnership. Talk about it. We're talking about it now. Maybe things will pan out in a few months. He said, plant the seed for anything that has to do with financial success on these months. Now, every so often, on leap years, which is this year, we gain an additional month of Adar. We gain another 30 days of luck. Now, this extra month is called Adar Bet. Like saying Adar B. Like January A, January B. We have Adar Bet. This extra month of increased joy, of an extra month for additional success, of an extra month of good luck. These years, these leap years, are considered Shana Me'uberet, a pregnant year, they call those years. Now, let's explain the reasoning behind it as well as the science. In order to understand why do we as Jews add another month to our year, every so often we call it a leap year and we get to merit it, and not only that, why is it Adar? So, here's the facts. The Jewish leap year, it occurs 7 times in a 19-year cycle. That's how they figure it out. It has 13 months. So that means that a lunar-based Jewish year, we follow the lunar calendar. And a lunar calendar actually only has 354 days. And there's another calendar, which is the solar calendar, which the rest of the world follows. And that has 365 days. So if you deduct 354 from 365, we're missing about 11 days. Now, the reason why we want to keep the lunar year and the solar year aligned is so we can have 4 seasons. So January is not in summer, or let's just say Pesach is not in the winter, and Yom Kippur is not in the summer. It's to align it, exactly. But the reason why we're actually want to keep the calendars aligned is in order to keep 2 festivals in line. One is Pesach and the other one is Sukkot. Why? And this is key. You should know that the reason why we have Adar Bet, a 13th month in a leap year, is because of this pasuk. Because there's a pasuk that says, Shamor et Chodesh Ha'aviv. Keep the month or the season of spring. Because Pesach is also called Chag Ha'aviv, the holiday of spring. So if Pesach is not happening during spring, then we're not commemorating and we're not performing the Torah as it was passed on to us. So since we want Pesach to be Chag Ha'aviv, and we have this 11-day differential, so every few years, what do? We got to take it back.
Except if you're in Australia.
What happens there? I didn't.
Pesach is in the winter.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's true.
So in order to keep Pesach in the month as a spring holiday, we have the leap year that is added, a month is added before Adar. And for Sukkot, it says, Chag HaSukkot ta'aseh lecha shiv'at yamim. The holiday of Sukkot you shall make for 7 days. Be'ospecha migurnecha mekavecha. The holiday of Sukkot will be when you gather your produce from your fields. So you can only reap your crops and you can only collect from your field certain times of the month. So if we don't align it, it can't go along. So in order to protect the days of Sukkot and Pesach, the Jews have a 13th month in the year, and it's a leap year. Now, it typically happens on the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th year. And it's on a 19-year cycle. And apparently the rabbis are keeping track of this. And they call it again a Shana Me'uberet. So this year, we're in a Shana Me'uberet. It happens to be that this year, we have a pregnant year. And we have a 13th month. We're going to have Adar Aleph, which is ironically in just a few days. And the reason why I did the class today is so we can be ready for it. It's on Monday night and Tuesday. And then a month after that, we go into Adar Bet.
Is there a Rosh Chodesh also?
Yes.
So, okay, for each one?
Yes.
Or separate?
Yes.
And on the calendars that are published, does it say Adar Aleph or Adar Bet?
100%. Now, when we have these leap year, the Shana Me'uberet, we get to benefit from 60 days of increased joy, increased luck. And the year gets this 13th month as a very unique spiritual energy to it. So here's the first one. There's a concept of Judaism that's called Batel B'Shishim, meaning that it's nullified by 60. It's a Torah principle. I'll give you an example. For example, let's say I'm in the kitchen right now and I'm cooking a chicken soup, right? And while I'm cooking a chicken soup, a little bit of milk gets spilled into it. Somebody walks by, I bump into them, and all of a sudden, a little bit of milk goes into that pot of soup. So the rabbis tell us, if the amount of milk that went into that soup that has chicken in it is 1/60th of the total amount of liquid, you can eat that soup. Because it's Batel B'Shishim. It's nullified by 60. Now, the rabbis are telling us on that same concept of Batel B'Shishim, batel, nullified, beshishim, in 60. That the Shana Me'uberet has the same spiritual powers. We also have a 60-day period that whatever we put into it becomes batel beshishim. What can you bring into the month of Adar that has 60 and becomes batel beshishim? The Lubavitcher Rebbe said something very interesting. He says, bring all the undesirable parts of one's life. Whether it's any cause of pain, any cause of sadness, discouragement, dejection, everything is nullified by the transformative joy of Adar. In other words, if you are really going to sit down with yourself and say, you know what, I have a lot of pain. I'm not, I'm really dealing with something, sadness, I'm lacking confidence. The rabbi is saying, bring it with you to Adar. Bring it with you with Adar. Keep your joy, keep your happiness during that 60-day period, and that becomes batel b'shishim. It gets nullified in that 60-day period. Not available in other years. Available in leap years. This year. You should know that the simcha, the joy of this month, has healing powers. Keep in mind, the rabbis are telling us every year, this is for health, this is for this is for atonement, this is for forgiveness, this is to be fruitful. When they come to Adar, you know what they tell us? You know what's the power of the month? Joy. You can heal, you can be successful through laughter, through joy, through happiness. That's the power of the month, happiness. Now, Adar is a month of transformations. It has the power to transform sorrow into joy. And each one has, everybody has skeletons in the closet, or if you have a great life, that's amazing. But anyone that has doubt, anyone who's lacking certainty, Adar has the power to transform that. It has the power to transform the Jews from scattered people to a unified nation. I'll give you an example. Adar is the month when the Jew has power over Amalek. You know Amalek is our arch nemesis. Amalek is also the Yetzer Hara. Amalek is also the devil. This is that angel that's always trying to trip us up. On this month, or this double month, we have more power than him. We're a lot stronger than him. Why? Because of the spiritual energy that's available to us on this month that happened through the story of Purim. Listen to this. Haman, who is he? He's from Zera Amalek. He's from the family, from the lineage of Amalek. Amalek, you have to understand, they are the children of Esav, and the first time that we realize that we have an enemy in this world is when we first left Egypt. We just went through the splitting of the sea. We're tired, we're hungry, we're thirsty. We look to the right, and who's there? Amalek, by the thousands, wanting to kill us. The pasuk reads, when they came to attack, it says, don't forget Amalek. Asher karecha baderech v'zanev b'nechashim achev v'atayef v'gev v'lo yireh Elohim. He wasn't scared of God. He came. In other words, he came to your tail, he was following you, and he cooled you. Why did he cool him? It says, if you go to his book, Amrei Noam, he says a beautiful explanation over there. He says, Asher karecha baderech, that he cooled you along the way. He says, what's kirut? What does it mean that Amalek cooled the Jews? Well, I'll say it on the outside. So imagine, here we are, the Jews just got saved, 10 plagues, splitting of the sea. Moshe Rabbeinu was the biggest leader in the world. God revealed himself. Everybody knew that God saved the Jews. Everybody should be shaking, right? Nobody should even be messing with anybody. Everybody should just be scared that the Jews don't pass through their land. God's on their side. Amalek says, nah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to go fight him. I'm going to beat him. They knew they weren't going to win. But what they did is they wanted to cool the pool. That's what Rashi says. He says, imagine there's a huge pool of boiling water. The first person that jumps in, he knows he's going to die. The second person knows he's going to die. But the only reason why he's doing that is so like that he can take the heat, he can absorb it, and eventually he cools it down for everyone else, so when the 10th or 15th or 20th person comes in, they're not going to die, they're going to cool the waters for them. So what they said, it was a suicide mission. We're going to go and fight them in order so every other person after us will come and fight the Jews. Don't be scared. So it says, the rabbi says, that they cooled the waters. What does it mean? He says, they had a fire. When they left Egypt, the Jews were on fire. They loved each other. They believed in God. And when they came to fight them, something was weird. It cooled their bond that they had. The Jews were not so... It says over here, they lost the desire to love one another. They were so connected, but when Amalek came, it cooled them down. And it cooled them down from ahavat milehov echad et chavero. In other words, they were in such climax as a nation, as a connection to God and to themselves, and Amalek sort of like cooled it down. Having said that, the Jewish people did go and fight Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu, just so you know how that war ended. The Jewish people, Moshe instructed Yoshua to gather some... do I have the book over here? Beshalach? Okay. In Parashat Beshalach, it says over there, B'char lanu anashim. Choose for us people. And go and fight. And I will pray to God. My hands will be up in the air to Hashem. And when Moshe's hands were up, we were winning. When Moshe's hands were down, we were losing. Which shows us when we're praying to Hashem, we're winning. When our hands are down, we're losing. But something very interesting. Chazal tell us, I once heard this a few years ago from the Rabbi Mansour's class. He says, when Moshe Rabbeinu said, Bechar lanu anashim, go specially select people for us. He says, what happened with Amalek? They were witchcraft masters. They were sorcerers. They were stargazers. And they saw, according to the stars, that they were going to win. According to the planets and so on, they were going to win. That's why they didn't have any fear. So how did they lose? It's because Yoshua went and he chose all the people that were born on Adar Bet. And there's no constellation for Adar Bet. They couldn't see that. Every single other zodiac sign, yes, they would win. But the ones that were Adar Bet, there's no constellation for that.
Next question.
Yes.
I'm born in Adar Aleph.
Yes.
Okay, but why? It doesn't really make sense. If Purim is an Adar Beis, the extra month is really Adar Aleph, not Adar Beis.
The extra, well, we call the month that's closest to Nisan, Adar Bet, and the Adar Aleph, when Purim comes around, we call it Purim Katan, which is that there's still that energy there, but not as much.
Right, but that's really what you're talking about, because that means like I don't have a birthday every year, a Hebrew birthday, basically.
Were you born on a leap year?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
that's right. So you have to wait for it.
So it's Tanisat, but it's really not my birthday. It never feels like my birthday, so I don't have a birthday every year.
But this year you do.
This year I do, yeah.
So it's Thursday.
It's
Is it?
No, it's Yud Gimel.
Yud Gimel.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yud Gimel. Yeah. So I was born Adar Aleph. So my father doesn't count English birthdays. So he's always telling me like, I don't have to wish you happy birthday. I'm like, okay, but you want to give a bracha to people, so. But that's when you really don't have a mazel, meaning.
No. Wait, I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
I'm going to surprise you.
Yeah.
I'm going to surprise you about your mazal.
Yeah, right.
So that's how we won that war. They didn't account for the 13th month. They didn't count for the Jews that were born on 2nd Adar, for the henchies in the world. So that was then. Once again, in the story of Purim, what happened? We have Amalek, we have Haman, that wants to kill all the Jews in one day, more wicked than any other tyrant that we've ever had in history. Vayomer Haman lamelech Achashverosh, yeshno am echad mefuzar umfurad. It says there's a nation that's all scattered all around. Again, you see that his mentality was, let's keep him separated. Let's not have them united, because the secret of the Jews is when we're united, we have power. When we're united, we win. When we're scattered and separated, that's when they come to attack us. They know that. So Haman's plan was to keep them divided, because as united Jews were unstoppable. And it says over there, that there was a moment of national weakness for the Jews. The Jewish people participated in Achashverosh's feast because they believed that a mortal king can help them. They said, he invited us. He gave us all this honor. Let's go have a feast with the king. He's inviting us. And you know what? He'll save us. Or he's nice to us. Let's go and eat with him. He'll ensure our survival. Which seemed to promote Haman's plan, because the more that the Jews go with the Goyim and go away from their religion and go away from their tradition, that's when he wins, because only united we win, divided we lose. So we know that this holiday and this month has a big concept of Vayafochu. It's Vayafochu, everything gets twisted upside down. Whatever it was can be the complete opposite in a split second. You should know that in your personal lives. An Adar, get ready. Something that you've been wrestling with, or something that's been a real challenge for you for a very long time, can easily, in 1 second, in 1 day, in 1 minute, can turn, because that's the energy of that month, Vayafochu. And what happened was, when the Jews failed in that feast, it ended up turning their fate, where the Jews had the greatest statement of Jewish commitment of all time. The Jewish people, for an entire year, every single Jew remained faithful to God, and even though that they had a decree of annihilation, imagine living for a year knowing that the day is coming, that there's going to be one day when all the Jews are going to die, are going to be annihilated, and that guy that's walking down the street for you, he has the right to kill you. So they could have done a lot of things. They could have ran away, they could have converted, they could have faked it. They didn't. They stayed united and they believed in God for a year. So from putting their trust in a human king, they went Vayafochu and were completely committed. And they accepted upon themselves the oral Torah and the written Torah. And from this concept of Vayafochu, this twist of fate that they instilled in that day, in this month, in this holiday, our destiny, our mazal, will always change for the better. That's why we have that available to us. Now, there's another month in the year that has the same energy. There's another month that helps you transforms our fate for the better. Which month is that? Very close, one before. Elul.
That's right.
Elul is the month where we are very serious about what we did the entire year. We want to do repentance. We want to do teshuvah, so we can merit to a great end of the year judgment and a nice decree for the upcoming year. Because it says on the month of Elul, what does it say? HaMelech hu basadeh. The king is in the field. And why is he in the field? Because he wants to be close. He wants to be close to his people. So like that, when they do teshuvah, he's right there to listen to them, and he can forgive them, and he can help them out in their teshuvah process. The king is in the field. Similarly is Adar. It's in the word Adar. If you take the word Adar, it's actually Aleph Dar. What's Aleph Dar? The letter Aleph always stands for Alufo Shel Olam, God. It's even hidden within the construction of the letter. The letter is a Vav and a Yud and a Yud. A Vav is 6, Yud is 10, another Yud is another 10, altogether is 26. 26 we know is the Yud Kei Vav Kei name of God of Chesed. So Aleph is God. Dar in Hebrew means to live. So Aleph Dar, Adar. What does it mean? God lives. Just like the king is in the field in Elul, God lives with us in Adar. It's the same type of energy. Just in Elul, it's somber, it's melancholy, it's a little bit more heavy. We're thinking about the teshuvah process. In Adar, it's different. It's still teshuvah, it's still the end of the year, but we're preparing for the end of the year, how? With joy. Because you should know that
Because Tishrei is like Nisan, so you're
Right, there's a machloket in the Gemara. What is the beginning of the year? So, for example, the beginning of the year is Nisan. If you right now open up the Chumash, when they say the Chodesh Harishon, B'arba'aseh Yom leChodesh Harishon, that's Pesach. Chodesh Harishon, the first month, isn't that Tishrei? It says no, it's Nisan. So if Nisan is the first of the month, that means that the month right before it is the last month of the year, which is what? Adar. What do we do in Elul, which we think is the last month of the year? We start to do Teshuvah because it's a new year is coming. As a matter of fact, the reason why Nisan is also the beginning of a new year, because what do you say? It's Chag Aviv. What's Aviv? Spring. But if you take the word Aviv, it's Av Yud Bet, the father of 12, the father of the 12 months. So that's why we are now in the same energy of Elul. The only thing is, this time everything is happening with joy and happiness. So if you ever wanted to feel the month of Elul with a different energy, that's this month that's coming up. Because Adar is the month where the Teshuvah is done with joy, and Adar is the vessel. The way you create, the way you're going to spend the next 60 days, typically it's 30, but the next week, the next 60 days, the way you spend your month in joy, with simcha, you're going to create a spiritual vessel that you carry with you into Nisan. And when you come into Nisan, Nisan has one thing to fill you up with, is Nisim, private miracles. So if you want to plug into these months where things can happen for you in a positive manner, this is it. This is it. And it's fun. It's fun. It involves happiness, joy, laughter. The Sfat Emet says that on this month, the love of Israel starts to wake up. That you're able to come back and do teshuvah out of happiness. V'Nisan Rosh Hashanah l'chodashim, and Nisan is the head of all the months. And he says in this b'china, this holy tchadshut, this whole renewal that people go through during these months, can come only through one way: simcha ve'ava l'Hashem yitbarach. All these terms that I told you of happiness, there's another ingredient that you have to stick into it, which is you have to have happiness and joy coupled with love for who? For God. Because that's what happened over there in the story. The Jews discovered their joy and happiness and connection and love for God. That's what creates the vessel towards Nisan for the miracles. You have to create that relationship with God during this month. Initially, he continues to say, the main thing for anyone who wants salvation during these months and during the holiday, you should love your fellow Jew. That's why the mitzvah of Purim is what? To give gifts to other Jews. Why? Hashem says, let me rack you out. Let me give you mitzvah points. Go give another Jew mishloach manot. Go give him wine. Go give him food. Go give him tzedakah. Why? It's the end of the year. The next year, Nisan is beginning. It's a month of miracles. I want to give you a miracle. I can't give you a miracle if you're not happy with me, if you don't have love for me, and if you don't have love for another fellow Jew. So the mitzvah that the rabbis instituted in order to give us a better outcome in the upcoming year, which is Nisan, matanot la'evyonim, mishloach manot. And he says, why do we do that? He says, because, most things go according to the way it's finished, according to the end. It says, V'atam ki asof hashana, v'asit ra'acha nimshechet basof. You can always start a project.
Follow through.
So at the end, nobody cares about the beginning. They always want to say, what was the end result? That's why the Yetzer Hara is always concerned with the Jews when? In Elul and in Adar. He says, in Adar, if they're going to be successful over here, I'm going to go out of business. This is the month right at the end of the year. I have to do something. So what's the mitzvah that they instituted? The best mitzvot. Because the Yetzer Hara can't grab onto a Jew when he's happy. He can't. It's his kryptonite. For example, in the Siddur, what do we say? We say that Hashem should protect us from Yagon and Anacha. It's in the Amidah. What's Yagon? Anguish. Anacha is when you sigh. Whenever you feel down, when you feel depressed, when you have anguish, know that those are emotions that belong to the Yetzer Hara. When you have simcha, no, he has no grip. He's like trying to hold on to you, and you're like, you have oil all over you and can't get a grip. The Yetzer Hara cannot deal with a Jew that is happy. So we see over here that is the mitzvah and the energy for that month. Now, the only way to beat the Yetzer Hara on the final month of the year, we got the secret. Brotherly love, v'ahavta l'recha kamocha, and love for Hashem, and to be joyful, to be happy. In other words, go Breslev for 2 months. Just go Breslev for 2 months. Do yourself a favor. Just do that, and the preparation that you would do in Tu B'Shvat from the beginning of the month to Adar Aleph, Adar Bet, to Purim, with increased unity and happiness, you can create the vessel to receive miracles in Nisan. Look, even though we're preparing now for Adar, but you got to keep your eye on the prize. The reason why we're preparing over here, the reason why we're trying to start all these things, whether it's happiness, whether it's business, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is that we're trying to start in Adar, is so we can also be ready for the next spiritual energy, that's Nisan. A little bit of a deeper understanding of what simcha is. How does a Jew get happy? Gefilte fish on Friday night, chamin, Shabbat afternoon. How does a Jew get happy? Some schnapps. How do Jews get happy? Food, right? That's what I said. But the truth is, the way the Jews get happy, simcha comes from Torah. Why does simcha come from Torah? We see that in Lo Aleinu V'Lo Alechem, when people are mourning a relative that's passed away, they're not allowed to learn Torah. Why? Because it brings happiness. You can't learn Torah because it brings happiness. So the increased joy that we want to achieve, you can tell me, I can only be happy on my own naturally from the way that I'm, from my DNA and from my character. No more than 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe if I watch a comedy, maybe if I hang out with some of my friends that are jokers, I might be able to pull off 2, 3, 4 hours in a good mood. But happy every day?
Discussed this on one of your other share.
Yeah.
About being happy, that it's in your DNA, there's only like a small percentage.
It is. It's 45% from your parents, and the other 55% is controlled by you.
I come from a very depressed family.
You still have a chance. You still have a chance.
You know what? You have a choice whether to react in a certain way, and you break a pattern.
So exactly. So what you have, I want to share something with you after the end of the class. So what you have is you have your neshama, okay, and your neshama has a default setting that says it can always feel joy and happiness and be fulfilled when it's learning Torah. Torah is the all elixir for the Jew. And it creates happiness. The neshama feels happy when it has Torah concepts and it's learning Torah or performing Torah mitzvot and maasim tovim. So the simcha that we're talking about, rabbis are telling us over here, is that first of all, she'ikara simcha is that the main thing also during this month, if you really want to be focused, you want to see how can you maintain that energy or that state of mind of happiness, is when the nation of Israel receives the yoke of heaven. Or malchut shamayim v'shekashu b'shoshem ishdabar. He says you have to accept upon yourself the yoke of heaven. In other words, Hashem, you are my king, you are my God, you are my Father, and you accept it for real, just like they did in the time of the story of Megillat Esther. So when you have this increased unity and increased connection of between you and the Creator, and coupled with this attitude of joy and happiness, you're able to activate the true energy of the month of Adar. It says, Al yedei simcha marbin kedusha. For those that want to be really holy, the way that you increase holiness in your life is through happiness. And it says, you know where there's a hint for that? It says there's a hint for that in the name of the month. We've spoken about this concept before, that there's a special name, God's special name for the month, that you can mention during the prayer of Musaf. And over there, there's the Yud K Vav K. There's 12 different combinations, one combination for each month. And if you are able to say Baruch Atah Hashem, and you have that 4-letter combination of Yud K Vav K, Mekadesh Yisrael V'Shech Chodashim, because you called out God's name for the month, open up. Hashem is listening. You called out because we're performing a pasuk that we have, that we say many times in Motzei Shabbat.
Can that be used as a meditation practice to use, because you're talking about Hashem's name?
Yes.
But in the context of a prayer.
Of course, that's what the Kabbalists do. It's called Yichudim.
Yehudim.
Yichudim is when you take letters and you combine them together as a prayer.
Okay, but that, to get more proficient in anything, doesn't it require some degree of practice?
Of course. I don't know if you were here for that class for Doniel Katz.
Yeah.
He gave us on practical, but the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 10th level of what he's teaching is when you take God's names and you start stringing them together, and it creates and opens up worlds. Again, we don't even understand the power of the Hebrew alphabet. So the reason why we call out Hashem's name for the month is because there's a pasuk that says, Asagavehu ki yada shemi. I will uplift him because he knew my name. Yikre'eni, he will call me. Ve'enehu, I will answer him. Imanochi b'tzah, I'm with him when he's in trouble. Achaletzeu, I will save him. V'achabedehu, and I will give him honor. When it says ki yada shemi, when he knows my name, and that's the name. So we said that there's Yud, Hey, and Vav and Hey. So the Yud and the Vav are female letters and are male letters. No, I'm sorry. Adar, let me see Adar, where are we? No. Yud and Vav are the female letters and are more deen, they're more strict. If you see the Yud and the Vav in the beginning of the name of the month, know that that's a strict month. I'll give you an example. Av starts off with Hey, but the middle of the month, the Tisha B'Av, there's the Vav and the Yud. It's right there. Adar, Hey and Hey. That means that the Mishenichnas Adar, Marbim B'Simcha. So we know that the 4-letter name for Adar is Hey, Hey, and Yud and Vav. Why is the Hey and Hey over there? To show us Mishenichnas Adar, Marbim B'Simcha. The Heys are good. That shows us that there's good energy in the beginning of the month. And it continues. But what do you do? What's the name of God for the 13th month? There's only 12 combinations. What do you do when there's a leap year and we have a 13th month of Adar? So very interesting. The rabbis tell us, Be'adar Sheni, on the second month of Adar, when you get to that part of Musaf that says, Baruch Atah Hashem, Mekadesh Yisrael V'Shech Chodashim, you read all 12 names. That month has the power for all 12 names. Could you imagine the spiritual energy of the second month of Adar? Now, they call this month or the year Shana Me'oberet, the pregnant year. So you should know that there's a lot of segulot. So a lot of things that you can get plugged into during this year. They call it the pregnant year. It's also during this 60-day period is Pirya Verivya. Anybody who has a hard time getting pregnant, it's a good time to try to get pregnant. It says also, it's a good month to be able to defeat your Amalek. You know, Amalek lives within us. You know those 2 angels that we have, the good angel, the bad angel, right? The bad angel is Amalek. That's the Yetzer Hara. He lives inside of us. So Amalek is the same numerical value of the word safek, doubt. Whenever you start feeling doubt in your life, whenever you can't make a decision, when you start to get iffy about everything, I want to go, I don't want to go, I like it, I don't like it, should I do it, should I do it, should I get married, should I get married, should I open up that business, should I put it, the minute you start to have doubt in your life, that's the Amalek side of you starting to take over. When you start to have more certainty and emunah, and you know what you're doing, it's okay, it's all good, I'm in God's hands, Hakol Tova. Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tov U'Metiv. God is good and all that He does is good. There's nothing bad in the world. And od milvado. And you're so certain, that means, Baruch Hashem, you're on the right side. On Adar, you have the power to do that. As a matter of fact, last week's parasha was Parashat Yitro. Parashat Yitro is the parasha that we had, the 10 Commandments. So the rabbis tell us, on that Shabbat, there's a very auspicious time to get connected to something special on that Shabbat. What was the spiritual energy of Shabbat Mishpatim? They said that the Jewish people at the time of when they received the 10 Commandments, they got to the level of Adam HaRishon before the Chet. Adam HaRishon before the Chet lived forever, and there was no Yetzer Hara. So that means at that moment they were eternal. And they don't have the evil inclination bothering them anymore. And he says, since on that week we read Aseret HaDibrot, and since the Yetzer Hara was eliminated during that time, if you are able to connect to that energy, you have more power to take with you for the entire year to be stronger than the Yetzer Hara for that year. That was the work of that Shabbat, Mishpatim. Now, we're in Chodesh Adar, they say, listen, you got more power. Amalek, we defeated them already in Refidim. We already defeated them with Haman. And this is Adar, the month of the month where we have Mazal Barim. So if you're really, really wrestling with your Amalek, wrestling with your doubt, you can win. You can win on this month, but you have to do the work. The zodiac sign for this month is Pisces. In Hebrew, it's Dagim. It's the 2 fish. And fish are a sign of blessing, a sign of fruitfulness. Going back to the whole thing of Pirya Vrivya, for anybody who wants to get pregnant on this month. Also, fish live in water. Anytime that you see people talk about water, water is Torah. And Torah and Amayim. So when we say that the Jews are like fish, and fish live in water, it goes to show you that the month of Adar, that has the sign of Pisces, the sign of fish, is just a hint to show you, you want to be successful in this month, immerse yourself in water. Immerse yourself in Torah. That's where the happenings comes from. In conclusion, as written in Megillat Esther, it says, and on the 12th month, which is the month where the whole story began, which is the month of Adar. Remember, the 12th month is the month of Adar, right before Nisan, which is the first month. According to tradition, the whole story of Megillat Esther started when? On a leap year. The 12th month that they were talking about was actually of Adar Bet. The same energy that happened there exactly on a leap year is available to us right now. And the Jews have a great opportunity to succeed and to win in life. We have 2 months. We have 60 days. We have double the happiness, double the luck, double the spiritual prime time. And this is on a daily basis. Remember, we look for special days and for special months. And on the special months, every day of that month is special. And we have 60 days of this spiritual energy. The holiday has power for you to win in court, to start new ventures, new businesses, new relationships, Pirya Verivya, a renewed love for God, a renewed love for your fellow Jew, a renewed love for Am Yisrael. And how did we get this opportunity that in a few days from now we have all these opportunities as human beings, as Jews, to get all that, to get so lucky, get lucky in business, get lucky in love, get lucky in connection to God, get lucky in whatever you want. How did we merit that? It's because over 2,000 years ago, the Jews united and reaccepted the Torah, the oral Torah and the written Torah. And the secret of this holiday and the secret of this month is the Achdut. And it's always the secret. The unity of Am Yisrael is our secret. It's our secret weapon. When we are united, we win. When we're divided, we fall, and when we're divided, Amalek comes and attacks us. Our enemies come and see us as weak, and they go to war. We have an opportunity to get plugged into the 13th month. The number 13 is a very special number. 13 spells out the word ahava, love. Aleph, Hey, Bet, Hey, 13. The number 13 is also Echad, Aleph, Chet, Dalet. And the number 13 is to hint to us that this is the month of love, and this is the month of Achadut. And that's the secret of this month. Thank you for listening. Be'ezat Hashem, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, Chodesh Tov, and Be'ezat Hashem that we should all merit to love and unity.
I mean, that's what I'm going to say, you give him like a guy in like the 13th.